Normally, I'll say something about the cases we're going to cover because, well, that's why you're here. But you know what? Today I'm going to say something personal. Happy birthday, Joan, my big sister. I
Oh,
hope she's in the chat tonight. I hope she's watching. She just texted me about the dinner she's having. So, okay, she's watching. All
all
right.
right. Happy birthday, Joan. For others, Karen Reed, those damn phones. First she makes a little boo-boo on the email exchange. That's still up in the air. Will Doolin make a decision? Please, will he just make a decision?
Justice, where are you? Michel and Linda are here.
Love you, Linda.
The world is justice. Will we ever find justice?
The courthouse the other day in the hallway, you're singing
Will
"Oh
we
Happy
know
Day."
justice when we see it? To be and Damila lead the way, hoping justice will win the day. Listener clues, finding justice where we can. Join us now, we're on the run. Justice is waiting, we'll see it done.
All righty then. Well, I decided not to go to Dedham. It was interesting because our friends Amanda and Josie there at Law Girls Not Attorneys Due Process, they were there. They have the video. We're going to share it and talk about it. Never a dull moment there. You know, this is this case in which the phones, which were taken from Karen Reed in January of 2023, never a search warrant requested to get into the phones, but they got them. We got the phones. Here they are. And now, when Judge Cranky Krupp said, "Forget it. You're not getting into them. Return the phones," Cosgrove, Special Prosecutor Cosgrove, said, I might need them for a doorstop, maybe a paperweight. I'm going to keep them. I might appeal.
I can't let go. I can't let go.
You know how many billable hours I can get just fighting for these phones? So they go back to court today because counsel for Karen Reed said, look, we're not going to wait for you to maybe file an appeal, maybe not. The judge has ruled. Give me the phones back. If you want to make an appeal, do it, but you don't have to keep the phones in the process. Now, of course, Cosgrove thinks, well, if you get the phones back, you're going to do something nefarious with them. And even if we win the appeal and get those phones back, it'll be too late.
No, if she gets the phones back, they're her property. She could just go throw them in any river she wants to throw them in.
Sure could. Or like Aiden and I discussed last night, we just keep them in a drawer. We have all of our old phones because you never know when you might need that one photo that's on there. Yeah. So that's what the court hearing was about today. So who do you think made a surprise appearance at the court? And this, again, here are the parties. You have the Commonwealth.
Because I've watched.
And you have Karen Reed's attorneys. Commonwealth has the phones. Karen Reed wants them back. Anybody else you think might need to show up there?
Well, we know Karen Reed and her dad. And, for those viewers who haven't watched it or know about it, I think we should surprise them.
Okay, it does happen. It does unfold. It doesn't. Do you want to? I have just a couple of. Do I have a rip and read? I think I do. Okay, maybe because as big as news as this is, it's so long in the coming, and it should have been long ago, that when former Prince Andrew today was arrested and has been charged with, I think they call it misconduct in public office. Now, in this particular case, he, of course, accused in the Jeffrey Epstein scandal, specifically involved with at least one of the underage girls, Virginia Giuffre. And that's that famous picture everybody has seen with Ghislaine Maxwell in the background, the former prince, and Virginia in a three-way picture there. Forever, that has been an issue. Obviously, he was stripped of his royalty. He was turned into just a peon, just a normal citizen by the crown. Well, this is a little worse than that. So this misconduct in public office doesn't mean whatever happened in the office. No, this is a very broad set of laws that they have in England that covers really any misdeeds done when you are in an official capacity. And at the time these things took place, again, I guess allegedly, because there was no court hearings, just one word against another, he has denied it ever happened. But he was the prince. He was in the royal family then. Brother of the king now. And at the time, his mom was the queen. And so he was clearly an official. And so anything he did that cast a nasty light on the office and the crown, that's what this is designed to prevent. It also covers normal governmental offices as well. So
Yes.
Anyway, so, and it is, it's a big deal. I'm telling you right now, if this goes to trial, I'll be on a plane. I'm going over there to cover what will be an outrageous trial. And in England, no cameras. It's just that ain't happening.
That's
So I'll
right.
take my wig. I got my wig over here. I'll take my powdered wig, and I'll slide right in there, and it'll be fascinating. So we'll see what happens. Who knows? I mean, anybody envision the prince going to prison at some point? I
Well,
do.
you never know, the king said, and I really had qualms about Charles when he first came in, but I'm not
I
the way
think one
he's
of the
been
most important
handling
things that
things.
we learned
Oh,
in
there was Mac just started chiming in for some reason. Okay, sorry.
One of the things that he said he wants the process to play out. He's done all the things, and in addition to the victims, okay, that are here that we know about, who do we always talk about as being additional victims? Always the family members of the
Of course.
person charged, and that is Eugenie and Beatrice, and also because they weren't involved in with Epstein, and yet they become victims of their father's alleged, do I say alleged misdeeds? I guess I have
Yeah,
to say
again,
alleged.
they've never been proven in a court of law. So until that happens,
Yeah, alleged misdeeds. So, so we'll see. King Charles handled right. He issued a statement, and the process is going to play out, and we'll see. And all I can say is, thank goodness, I guess, that his mother is not alive to see
she is
this
rolling
happening.
over in the proverbial grave, I think,
Yep.
at this point.
Yeah.
The penalty could be life in prison. So, it's some serious stuff. The subcategory they have listed here is cases involving abuse of position for a sexual purpose. So I think that's the category within which whatever he has done or has allegedly done would fall. So no real, the nature and context of the relationship and the balance of power at the time that any sexual advance, activity, or intimate relationship began. Sounds almost like a sexual harassment analysis.
Right. Right.
So, involving youngsters in sex trafficking issues, I think is a cut or two above sexual harassment as we normally understand it.
Yeah, I see. And thank you, by
We'll
the
see.
way, for our new members for joining us
that's
here
nice.
today. And I'm going to let Michael read the names. We'll have
Thanks.
them up.
We're the lucky ones. One.
And, yeah. And number two.
Objection, Your Honor.
I love that. I love that.
T,
yeah.
TF, TL.
New member. Thank you very much for joining us.
But speaking of Epstein, Monday night we're going to do an Epstein show, and I'm working, among other things, to see if I can get the director of Filthy Rich on. It's a very difficult get, but I'm going to see if I can arrange that. She actually is going to be on Extra. I think it's tonight or tomorrow night. Extra, where we both used to work, that hard-hitting news magazine.
Where you both of the two of you used to work. Okay.
Yes.
And for
Not
people
you
that
and
don't
I. Yes.
understand, for people that don't understand, because people do ask if you and I are married. No.
I know.
No, I know. It's amazing. We are married, but not to each other.
Right.
And Michael, my co-host, is going to call in dibs on his wife, Elisa, who is an award-winning director of the two Epstein documentaries on Netflix, and I'm going to call in my husband, who was at the autopsy of Epstein, Dr. Michael Baden. If he's watching this is the first time
He's like, what?
he's hearing it, because I was in New Jersey all day, and then I was busy on a deposition in another case, and so he may be, hi, honey.
Yeah. Let me check my schedule.
And we're also trying to bring another special.
Yes, we are. We're working on a couple other folks that might help contribute to that story with these new wrinkles. Not just documents that have come in as we shared last night, but also now with the prince. I mean, Lisa has forgotten more about him and the involvement she's researched than we'll ever know.
And I want to find out if Lisa's in the files, because quite frankly,
she's in there a lot. Yeah,
she is.
Just because of the relationship to the
shows, right?
Yeah.
You being in the files with the Carfax report, and then the asset report.
Yeah, that was the scary part.
Scary.
Here's their address. Here's their assets. Here's where they. I mean, that's how far they're willing to go, just because there was a car parked out near their New York apartment, and obviously.
And
I'm
therefore,
shooting the
I will
camera.
switch how far people are willing to go with what has come out in these files. And it's not all of them. We know that. And a lot of it's black and out. We know that and all. If you're not going to convince me ever that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself, ever. So,
Nope, 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 nope. There was one moment when, when I was living this through Lisa vicariously, I was quite often the sounding board. And to be honest, I got sick of it. I mean, at a certain point, you're just like, but it was one day in August. I can't remember the date. I walk into the kitchen. She said, the show's dead. No, she said, Epstein's dead. And I'm coming, from a broadcast background. When you say something's dead, it's like, what, they killed the story? There's
right.
No, Epstein is dead. Oh, really dead. And that, of course, they had to really almost start from scratch on that series because they had built it in a certain way and he was alive. So anyway, it all worked out.
And, everyone knows that your wife has the shows. My husband was hired by Mark Epstein, who's been on our show a number of times. We'll post his playlist here. And he's the one who hired my husband because he wants to know who killed his brother.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
And the discussion, like
mean,
we all would, no matter who it is.
Exactly. I mean, obviously, it's easy to say, who cares? He's an evil beast. But if you're family, you have that right. You need to know what happened that night because it's unclear is an understatement.
Yeah, that understatement is right. So we'll go more into that Monday night. Anyhow, this was a long rip and read because we think it deserved it. Virginia Giuffre, as you know, did take her own life. And so the tragedies here multiply over and over and over again. And the victims do not feel they are getting any justice. Hence, I give you Attorney General Pam Bondi at the hearing before the Senate. I don't care of what political persuasion you are.
That was
it
not
was
a good look.
Disgrace. Right.
Yeah. So moving backwards, we're up in Dedham now. And by we, I mean law girls, not attorneys due process. I sat this one out. I got a note from Damon Seligson late last night because I had asked, hey, are you going to be there? One of the reasons I thought it'd be worth going would be just to a little more FaceTime. And, as this case evolves, it's always nice to have that. I think I was talking about it during the member-only book thing yesterday. And I was talking about how important I really found that has been just to be present. And people get, it's like seeing the same tree. I mean, that people get comfortable with people. And that's how I got the OJ Simpson interview. I was just there at court every day. How you doing? A little quick yes and no answers. And then when the opportunity came, I pounced. So I thought, if Damon Seligson's going to be there, maybe it's worthwhile. But he said no, he was not going to go. And I think, nothing against the guy, but I think the third string guy went because even the guy that Seligson said was going to be there wasn't there.
Right.
So
anyway. I'm glad I convinced you not to go.
Yeah, it was probably a good call, but that was my reason. Once he said he was not going to be there, I'm like, okay, you've taken away the real final reason I might go. So let's, and there is some audio that is not great. You'll see the lector in there that's nearest the jury box. Audio is not bad for the Karen Reed attorney speaking there. Cosgrove, of course, does his mumbling from a little further away. But I think that's not bad, but it's worth the effort because this is really the only shot you're going to have to listen to this.
Okay. All right, let me hear from Mr. Robles. Thank you.
Now, I didn't hear his name. It wasn't the attorney that Mr. Seligson told me would be there.
Your Honor, as the court's aware, we're here for a motion to return Ms. Reed's phones. Based on some of the filings, I just want to give a backdrop of sort of the history. Yep. So while Ms. Reed was under indictment for murder, in January of 2024, Commonwealth sought and was granted a warrant to seize, not to search, but to seize her cell phones. They executed that. That warrant permitted a digital copy of the contents of her cell phones, but it specifically stated that they needed a warrant to search. They never applied for a warrant to search, but instead presented to the grand jury and attempted to indict Ms. Reed along with Baden as co-conspirators with respect to witness intimidation for the witnesses related to Ms. Reed's murder trial. They failed, and no bill was issued.
Anyway, let me just flesh that out for those who may have forgotten, and you heard Aiden Carney's name mentioned. Remember, the whole reason for getting those phones, both Aiden's and Karen Reed's, was to go through them and prove that they were colluding, that there was some sort of master plan to witness intimidate, which, of course, are the charges now pending against Aiden Carney. The grand jury said, go to hell. And nobody has allowed them to even look in those phones for that information. Aiden has said time and time again, there's nothing in there. You know, there's just nothing there. But that doesn't mean you're going to roll over and say, hey, go ahead and take a look, when they have no right to do that, no colorable interest. So that's the background he's giving Judge Doolin. And I must say, Doolin,
He's back. He's back.
It's the rotating judgy thing. It's like, you know, why wouldn't you have Judge Krupp do this, since he's the guy that ordered that the phones be returned? Why would you not have him? Tell me.
I don't understand it, because Aiden said that last night they started one hearing with Doolin and then did another hearing with Krupp. And now we have an opinion from Krupp, and now we have Doolin in the hearing. I don't get it. I don't understand it. You know?
I don't either. It's just so screwed up. And Doolin, who I've been in front of as reporters/spectator many times, does not impress me. He's never had the balls to make a decision from the bench. I thought, maybe today, because how much more clean could it be? All we have is a prior order from Krupp, and now no appeal has been filed. There's nothing filed. All he has to do is basically say, Krupp's right, turn the damn phones over. That's it. But I guess maybe that doesn't happen. Let's see.
Fast forward, history obviously had 2 trials, and she was acquitted in the summer of 2026. Yes. And shortly thereafter, her attorney at the time contacted the Commonwealth and suggested, okay, can she get her property back? The Commonwealth applied her vehicle back, as that was the alleged murder weapon, and she was acquitted, so they gave her that back. So they said, you know what, actually, we're not going to turn over her cell phones at this time. Her attorney at that time filed a motion for a return of property, and that sparked the Commonwealth to then file a motion to actually search the phones. This was 19 months after the initial seizure.
So that would have been, and so the initial seizure was January 24th, so this would have been September 25, so thereabouts. But then it was searched.
It wasn't searched.
Oh, it was not.
No.
They started marking.
They filed a motion on August 28th seeking the search.
Got it.
And there were hearings this fall. There were back and forth memorandums that I filed, that the Commonwealth filed, oppositions fighting this. Now, it's important to know that in the meanwhile, on August 29th, the day following the Commonwealth's motion for to search the phones, Diaz was decided. And Diaz was decided by the appeals court. And that was a case that was very important for both sides in their argument. And Judge Krupp certainly asked 20 questions about at the oral argument. So that was sort of a seminal case that was dealt with in the argument and the motions. Also over the fall, SJC agreed to take up further appellate review of Diaz.
Yeah.
And
That's what Mr. Cosgrove mentioned in his final.
right, and that's why I'm referencing it.
Okay, yeah, okay.
So that happened in the fall. So it was known in the fall that the SJC was going to be hearing Diaz. Meanwhile, arguments ended in our matter. All the memorandum was filed end of November. We waited 2 months for Judge Krupp's very thoughtful and very thorough decision. In the meanwhile, the SJC heard arguments in early January on Diaz. The Commonwealth never moved for a stay of the proceedings, and they never did anything for almost 2 years with those phones. January 30th, Judge Krupp rejects their motion. He denied their motion, and it was judicially rejected that they were going to be able to search Ms. Reed's phones. There's no penalty case. That was it. I then filed an email to Attorney Cosgrove requesting that Ms. Reed's cell phones be returned and asked him how she could pick them up. He said, nope, we're still not giving them back. So
Okay, so just to reiterate, all of the time that has passed between getting the phones, not asking for a search warrant, not asking for a stay on the order that was entered on January 30th. I know he's got 30 days, but why sit on your ass? File it if you're going to file it. And so, counsel's doing a good job of helping Doolin understand. Doolin clearly didn't have a grasp of the time frame because he asked, when was that? When did they get that? And when did they search the phones? No, they didn't search the phones. So that's another reason, Cranky Krupp should be on the bench. You cut through all of that. You get right to
Shouldn't he have read the opinion?
well, one thing about Doolin is he's there for a good time. My opinion, he's, I don't know how soon he's going to retire, but every day it's just a barrel of monkeys there. People, he's telling jokes. He likes to have sidebars in which there's clearly some jokes being told, some belly laughs. There's one point here. We'll hear when I think he asked for a sidebar, and he sounds like a carnival barker. So I'm not impressed with the dude. I think he's just phoning it in, and he's not taking it seriously, and he won't make a decision. But other than that, good dude.
Filed a motion the following business day to put this on from this court. Mr. Cosgrove filed an opposition, I believe, the same business day later on that day. That was 2 weeks ago. All of a sudden, yesterday, we get this motion to stay the decision of Judge Trump that Mr. Cosgrove only filed because he didn't like the decision of Judge Trump. He could have filed a motion to stay the proceedings at any time if he thought that Diaz was controlling or was going to change or potentially change the court's ruling.
When was Diaz actually for the
January.
Thank you.
So with that, Your Honor, the Commonwealth was asking for a stay, but I think it's important to recognize that this case is done. There's been a decision, and this is very common as far as something you might see in other cases where people are dismissed or no plus, right? The Commonwealth's argument here is that they have time to appeal. They're asking for indefinite time based on whatever DS might get decided. But I know Your Honor was a practitioner for many years, and I would suggest think about the times when we'd be in front of the court, our client's case would get dismissed or no plus. We ask them to property that. Never once does the judge say, well, the case was dismissed. However, Rule 36 hasn't expired yet. We're going to wait until all of that happens, and then we'll think about whether we, or even worse, if it's a no plus by the Commonwealth, Rule 36 doesn't apply. And you know what? We're going to wait till the entire statute of limitations runs before we're going to give you this property. That's not how things work. And that's what the Commonwealth is asking to do here today. There's a million different variables that could or would happen. That a law might change, the case might change. Even if the case changes, is that going to change Judge Clough's decision? Is that going to have any influence? I just want to point out the difference that in the appeals court decision of Diaz, that was 123 days delay. Our delay is 5 times that. And the government interest in that was that the cell phones that were not allowed to be searched were allegedly used to create and produce child pornography. In this case, the government's interest is text messages, allegedly.
Wait a minute, that could be Proctor's phone. Hold on, that's a different story. So I think he's doing a great job of practical application. He said, Judge, you were a practitioner. How often have you seen a case that's been dismissed or null prost, and then they just let the evidence remain with the Commonwealth until certain, statute of limitations expires? It's moot at that point, just like when it followed Karen Reed's 2 trials, especially the one with the acquittal, June 18th of last year. All of that's done. So why does the court, I know why Cosgrove does it, he's a lunatic and he likes to just, it's better than gardening. So he's doing it and he gets paid. But why does the court go out of its way to keep this alive? Help me understand that, counsel.
I have no idea. I mean, I honestly have no idea. Do they think that if they keep going after bringing this poor woman back to this county, Karen Reed, where she had 2 trials for murder, her whole life was destroyed, right? No one else is being charged except for Aiden Carney on some things that are also bullshit, in my opinion, but I represent him, so maybe
that was your measured legal opinion.
Measured legal opinion, and sometimes we say that even for the court. We say this case is bull cookies, horse doo doo. dog poo, but they just won't let go. They won't let go, as if doing this is going to somehow redeem what's now become a laughing stock around the world. I mean, we have, look at us, we're in Arizona, we have a missing woman, 84-year-old woman, right, with Savannah Guthrie involved. We have cases that are real, and they want to keep going after Karen Reed's phone. It's outrageous, it's terrible, it's diabolical, and I think it's quite frankly unethical.
Yep. It's definitely pushing the envelope. I noticed that Urbellis, thank you. I couldn't remember Ben Urbellis's name. They've got a pretty good roster of attorneys below Seligson, but attorney is spelled wrong. I just had to point that out. Anyway.
Well, we'll ask somebody to fix that. Maybe Sheila can fix that typo.
That might be the Commonwealth spelling. I'm not sure. Anyway. Let's see how the judge. Well, Cosgrove, of course, will get his moment, which is always entertaining.
Thank you.
So, let me just back up a little in the narrative presented to you by Mr. Urbellis. I'm not going to go through all of it, but let me pick it up from Judge Truck's decision. There were two motions, just to clarify before Judge Truck. One was a motion that the defendant filed to return the cell phone, and the other one was a motion from Commonwealth to set up the scene. Ultimately, Judge Truck wound up denying the motion to set up the team. He made no order with respect to the motion to return the cell phone. I got Judge Truck's decision the same day that he issued it. We did a very efficient clerk's office in this court, as you know.
Yep.
So at about 4 o'clock, Judge Truck's decision appeared in my inbox, and about an hour later, I would estimate I had Mr. Urbellis's request that Ms. Reed would like her cell phones back as soon as possible, and could he get them on Monday? I replied either that day or the following day, and my reply is, I believe, reproduced exactly Mr. Urbellis's original motion. I said that we just got Judge Truck's decision. I'd like to take some time to look at it and to meet with the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office. I intend to do that within a week or so and discuss with them our various options. We're getting the cell phone back. Are we going to move for reconsideration? Are we going to file a notice of appeal? And when I've done that, I'll get back to you.
Can you just stop that there a second, Michael?
I certainly can.
That's just a new wrinkle. First, he's going to move for reconsideration, and then he's going to file an appeal. Okay,
that's an option.
So let's move for reconsideration and then file an appeal. Okay, all right. So that's even more to keep this going more.
Oh yeah, that's more billable hours.
And more and more and more. And the judge should just shut it down. The judge should just say, you can do whatever you want. I'm giving her back the phones, and I'm not prohibiting her. And then, of course, if he gives it back the phone, he's going to ask that you place some kind of order on her that she can't change them.
She can't erase them.
If you had a judge with sneakers at this point, they'd say she can have the phones back. And if she wants to go, just like Brian Higgins, go to an army base and take the SIM cards out and throw them away, there's nothing. I'm not going to prohibit her from doing that. Done. Boom.
Yep, but he doesn't, and none of the folks there seem to. Did you also notice the one more move that he put in, and Urbellis mentioned this, yesterday he filed a motion to stay all proceedings. So that was salvo one, and then now he's weighing, motion for reconsideration, which is a loser. Most people know what that means. You're going back to the same court to say, Mom, I want to stay up past 10 o'clock. I know you told me to go to bed at 10. I want to stay up past 10. No! You're going to bed at 10. So you lose the motion for reconsideration, and then you can appeal either that or the original order. It's all just a bunch of crap. to keep this non-case alive.
No.
It's so exasperating. It's just, this is, if I were in law school and there were, here's a case study, you'd say, I'm not getting in, I'm not going to practice law. If
Well,
this
on the two
if
cases,
this is the way it goes.
yeah, on the two cases we're dealing with, this on the practice of law, and on poor Mrs. Guthrie on the messaging from the Pima County Sheriff and all. I mean, here in Massachusetts, no one understands this constant rotation of judges in and out. And then we start with Doolin, we end with Krupp, we start here, then we end there. And no one understands it. The only time someone didn't get rotated out was Judge Cannoni for the second trial, right? She stayed on.
Right. That's right. Yeah. And to be honest, but for it being Judge Cannoni, that made perfect sense to me to really to have the same trial judge. I don't think there was a great reason to sub her out, but she wasn't going to let that happen anyway. Okay, let's see what else Golden Boy has to say here.
Mr. Rebella said when you asked me to jump, the only acceptable response was how high, because in response to my response, as he just described, you filed a motion, captioned the renewed motion for return and stuff before this court, and I filed an opposition. And basically what I said in my initial opposition was that under the rules of the appellate procedure, we have 30 days to file a notice of appeal of the judge's decision. And it seems reasonable that we have the option to exercise that right before any decisions are made.
Oh yeah, it just drives me crazy. He's just he's like Columbo without the charisma. Remember, and there's going to be somebody weighing in here very soon. This is not the Karen Read civil case. This is really not even the Aiden Carney criminal case. This is this bastardization of this extra tentacle that's still alive because they have not given these phones back. It's really a property dispute at this point. So who else would care about this case?
I can't wait to find out. And you know what? Maybe I was a little hard on Doolin because he just got shoved into this, right? He got rotated.
Oh no, come on.
Okay,
these guys, I'm sure they talk about this back in the hallways, like, you have to handle this piece of shit today. Yeah, I'm gonna do it.
I can't wait to see who pops up next.
Who else would have any interest in this case?
Oh, and going after Karen Read. Okay,
Yeah,
who
I
else?
don't understand.
In the meantime, as I had indicated to Mr. Rebellis in my initial response that I would, I sat down with the district attorney's office and told them that went through all the options and what I saw as the pros and cons of each. And I told them that I thought the most prudent thing to do, and that I intended to do, was to file a motion to stay Judge Truck's order until such time, basically, as the Supreme Judicial Court issued a ruling of Diaz. I did that, you remember, after reading the briefs in Diaz before the SJC, including the amicus briefs that were solicited. And I did that after listening to the oral argument that Diaz online. So this is not a case where the Commonwealth is saying, well, let's postpone things indefinitely because somewhere along the line they may come down a case in the future that will change things. This is a case where the key case relied on by Judge Pratt, and I agree that you are very careful and scholarly opinion. Maybe headed for some serious change, and also having listened to the oral argument, I can tell forth that there are other cases that Judge Pratt mentioned that came in for questioning as to their significance by the court.
Let me fill in a blank here because we've heard him say it a few different times. The SJC he's mentioned in this Diaz case, and he's talking about, waiting to see how that case is decided because it may affect him. Well, yeah, that case involved the failure to get a search warrant for a cell phone, and I think it was 120 days or something like that. They waited far longer than that. So if Diaz is ruled that it's unreasonable to wait that long to get a search warrant, then that kills any argument he might have that their delay was somehow reasonable. So he wants to wait to get that word. That's what he's talking about.
I counted offhand about 4 different issues that were raised by the Commonwealth in front of Judge Crump that were raised in the appeal of Diaz. So my situation, Your Honor, is I don't want to file a frivolous appeal. I don't want to file a motion for reconsideration of this frivolous. I want to make an informed decision, and it seems to me that the best way to do that is to see what the FJC says in Diaz. I don't know how it's going to come out. It may strengthen Ms. Reed's position. It may be no particular change, or it may undermine it entirely. That's the point, it seems to me, at which it is appropriate to make a decision on whether or not the Commonwealth is going to pursue an appeal or a motion for reconsideration. And to that end, I went ahead the other day and I filed a motion for a stay pending appeal, which Judge Crump now has, I understand, under advisement and is not under advisement, under consideration. And my understanding is that he's given Ms. Reed 14 days to respond to my motion. So
You know,
that-
Michael, I'm going to ask you to stop it again.
Yeah, I'm going to record that again and play it back tonight when I have to go to sleep.
No, I asked you to
Yeah,
stop
well-
it again because last night we had Nathan Carter on our show, and he has a mega motion out on the 27th of March. And before that is obviously Cosgrove has to decide whether or not he's going to get off one of the cases or have a special prosecutor to the special prosecutor for one witness. But he says, the removing Cosgrove, sometimes you may not want what you
Careful
really
what you
had
wish
asked
for,
for,
yeah.
because can you imagine having to sit in a trial as a juror, listening to him talk? I can't. I'm over it. I
know.
don't care whether he had a videotape of, of take the worst thing you could have. I mean, I'd be like, forget it. I'm out of here. Goodbye.
Yeah, he's brutal. He is brutal. And, we just saw in the Canero case, the defense counsel that was so brutal on cross-exam. Can you imagine Cosgrove with a surgical, biting cross-examination of a witness? Oh, my God.
How about a surgical presentation of a witness?
No,
I mean, let's talk about anything. I mean, it's just brutal. Your jurors now. I mean, when he was practicing in front of juries, right? And I assume, obviously, and on an everyday basis, they're different now. We want speed, quickness. We want to be involved. This is why normal news media doesn't go, because this is why people watch shows like ours. They want decision. They want things done. They want to know what's going on. Not.
And you could chop this up into probably a 35, 40-second news hit. Be simple. We like to just kind of dwell on the pain of watching this guy work. And I will say, I love this courtroom. You can see part of the ceiling there. It's so ornate. And this is the big courtroom, not the Bev courtroom. It's just a nice, New England, old world, I love that courtroom. But I don't
not
like
the
this.
Sacco and Vanzetti courtroom.
No, this is not the Sacco and Vanzetti courtroom. This is a much larger courtroom. Okay, so is he ever going to finish?
Mr. Bellis was a little faster on the uptake than I am. I noticed that in his memorandum of law in support of Karen Reed's renewed motion for board of return property, he says, absent a court-ordered stay pending appeal, continued detention is unlawful. I'm not sure that's true, but I now apply for a court-ordered stay pending appeal, which is under consideration by the court. I don't know if his position is that, well, you may have applied for it, but it hasn't actually been ordered yet. But let me turn to the dueling issues of construction here. Mr. Bellis is relying on a statute relative to the return of property, which states that it's Mass General Laws, Chapter 276, Section 3, as I'm sure you've read. As soon as may be thereafter, that's thereafter, where there's still a possibility to produce it as evidence in the trial. All property seized under clause first of section 1 shall be restored to the owners thereof. I take it that it is the defense position that that is self-executing. I don't think that is the case. I think that
It is. That's what it is. Basically, it's saying once it's determined the property should be turned over, it should be turned over.
It should be turned over, right? It should be turned over. You know what it is? Is he wants to get in there and he wants to try to get something to falsely accuse her and indict her and maybe bring other people along with that because they can't let go. Because they can't let go. They lost, and now you bring this guy in.
Yeah. That's it. I mean, they are so beat up over the loss in the Karen Reed case that this is all they have to cling to. We're gonna get her. We're gonna get her somehow. And I know it's in those phones. Now, even if that attitude was legitimate, and it's not, it is ethically an issue. Why are you sitting on the phones for so long? You know, we wouldn't have this conversation if they had acted promptly before the second trial was ended. You'd have no problem getting a warrant and get into those phones. Or I shouldn't say no problem. You'd have better argument than you have now. But because of their dicking around, now they're caught with no argument that makes any sense, and only because they have a judge like Judge Doolin are they even still alive on this issue. But we still haven't heard from our special guest.
Yes,
it's going to be
who
making
could
an
that
appearance.
possibly be?
It's going to be soon.
That wants to come. Can we speed him up? Can we give him some? What
I could.
What is
He's
speed?
almost done.
Tell me in the chat. What is the drug for speed?
I
Give
think
me
his speed is -2. Let me see.
Well, is there a drug that can speed him up?
Let me. The problem is the audio is sort of challenged, and so I hate to push it too hard.
Well, I don't even care what he says anymore. I'm done with him. I'm done with this.
He's
going to
be done soon.
Vinny, I'm done with this guy.
I watched that again the other night. It was on at some point.
Right, the best legal movie ever.
It's so good.
Court order is required. Judge Putnam not having acted on the original motion to the court order, we now have a renewed motion before your honor. I have relied, as you know, on the mass rules of appellate procedure, which provide a length of time for the Commonwealth to file.
He's not any better faster.
Actually, I thought he sounded a little better. A little more pep.
From the two is, yes, we recognize the Commonwealth can file an appeal. They can follow in lawful procedure, but that doesn't give them the right to hang on to property in the meantime. I would cite two well-recognized principles of law here. One is the rules and statutes, where possible, are to be construed harmoniously. And the second is that we presume that the legislature, and I presume as well the SJC, and enacting rule does not make a barrier there. Now,
Let's get to the special guest. Let's speed him up. I can't take it anymore. I can't take it.
Well, the thing is, because the special guest is by phone,
Yeah.
I can't just zoom and find him. There's only 6-7 minutes left in the whole proceeding. In the whole proceeding.
I can't get those 6 or 7 minutes back.
In the whole proceeding. So he's, because the judge has a word or two, then this person pops in.
And then there was apparently a lot of shouting going on by people who don't like Karen Reed in the courtroom and outside of the courtroom. You know, talk about people that are getting intimidated. Aiden talked about it last night. People are intimidating Karen Reed all the time, but nothing happens with that.
Nope.
I think this is intimidation. I think bringing this charge is intimidation.
Well, it's so hollow. If they'd done it quicker, more timely, that'd be something.
Still intimidation. It's still.
Okay, let's see where he's going here. Rebellis is up.
Oh God, he's off the left. He's away from the lectern. Thank God.
Rebellis has his reply. This won't be long.
Thank God.
And then.
So, Your Honor,
then our surprise guest
did address one significant point. We agree they have the right to appeal. The only statute of authority that Mr. Cosgrove has cited is his right to appeal. That's his right to appeal the court's decision, and that can go on without their continued use of possession of the cell phones. At this point, there is no lawful authority for them to continue holding the cell phones. Mr. Cosgrove says that Ms. Reed and her team believe that the statutes are self-executing. Yes, statutes are self-executing. The judge needs to follow
Yes.
the statutes. That's not for the court to use discretion whether to follow the law or not. We've cited in our briefs constitutional authority under Article 14. We're citing case law, and we're citing a statute. With respect to the continued possession of the cell phones, they were only authorized to be seized pursuant to a warrant in contemplation of a search warrant that has since been denied. There's no longer that basis. I think it's important to recognize, as the court stated in Commonwealth versus White, that, quote, individuals have a significant property interest in their cellular phones.
Yeah, that's the case. I mean, Onyx White, right? Commonwealth versus Onyx White.
Yes.
Yeah, there was a lengthy period of time that Commonwealth had the phone. They didn't search it.
They didn't search it, and the court said they're not going to search it. And in that case,
So Doolin is, pretending to like be up on the, isn't this the case where that at the point where he reinforces that the statute is self-affecting, actuating, ready to roll, the judges say, you're right, I agree, give them the damn phones back, and we're adjourned. That's what he should
That's
say.
what he should do. Yeah.
Okay. But there's still somebody who wants to weigh in.
and it was like that was too long of a delay. And I know that was not a warrant search, but that was not a warrant seizure, it was a public procedure.
This
But,
is
I think
justice,
it's
by the
important
way.
that we
You're
also say that
watching
all the cell
injustice,
phones
not justice.
keep on their person a digital record of nearly every aspect of their lives. We all know that. So she's been without the phones now for 2 years. We've been going after her for 2 years.
No, it's not good. Darcy says Alan Jackson wants to win. No, it's not going to be Alan Jackson.
Nope, won't be
Nope.
Alan Jackson.
God, I'd love that. That would at least be fun. We could have, Alan Jackson had a great, by the way, if you want to stop that, there was a great sidebar clip that was released, a transcript, and the judge is talking about how long or is Dr. LaPosada going to be in the second trial, or how short is she going to be? And Alan Jackson goes 5'5". I almost fell off my seat reading it. It was so good. It was so
what
good.
was
That
the
would be
judge's
good.
reaction to that?
Yeah. I think she just ignored it and said,
sure.
can we go to finish by today? Yeah. So.
Yes, it's good to have a little.
Nope, not going to be Mr. Betterow. Nope, not going to be Mr. Bar. It's not going to be Mr. Morrissey. We could have had a betting pool if betting were legal.
The Commonwealth.
You win a banana should you win.
They cite nothing to say that they have the right to continue possession. We're asking them to be ordered with the court.
I think that's what it is.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Now,
What's that? Hold on.
hold on.
Okay. So, yeah.
There's the carnival barker. Yeah. Oh, there's Chief Rose doing a cameo right there.
He's a nice guy.
Super good guy. So now we're going to zoom ahead on this because I don't think we need to. I mean, I guarantee. Listen, I will let you hear this. Listen how loud he is at a sidebar.
No, it's not going to be Mr. Reed. None of you got it yet. Who's coming in? Who's going to try to come in? Aside from the people who later on are going to yell at Karen inside and outside the courtroom.
Okay, here we go. They're coming back.
Not going to be Brennan.
Oh, I see an answer.
Oh, somebody's got it with a
I see the right
typo.
answer.
Somebody has it with a typo. No, not going to be Aiden, but I see you. I love anybody with a typo because I can't type. A septic tank.
And then I will let Mr. Burgos or other counsel who is here respond to it, okay? You go right ahead.
I think we might have missed where the interaction took place, but you barely hear now on the phone. That is the O'Keefe family's attorney in the civil case, Mr. Diller. Not
And
Dillard.
somebody had it. Somebody
Diller.
put a dollar,
put-
but you got it.
So yeah, so I saw
You got it right,
Dillard in
right,
here. Let's
yeah.
see who had that right.
you got it right.
The
Mr.
credit where
Diller.
credit is due.
He wants to intervene. He wants to intervene, right?
This is the guy in the civil
Civil
case
case.
against Karen Reed. He wants some piece of that phone action.
And that's in the criminal case.
Yes,
That was
it's
in a
really
search warrant.
over.
That's
That's
over.
over. Okay, so listen as best you can. It is the worst of all things here. Not really mic and a phone.
If not, you can talk to about what his argument was.
I can try because my ears are no better than anybody else's.
Well, we can't hear him. All right, we know who it is.
No,
He wants
we
the
know
cell
who-
phone.
He wants basically he is suggesting that there may be things on the cell phone that somehow impact the civil case because the defendant in the civil case, Karen Reed, may have something on that phone that helps the plaintiff prove their case against her. So,
Which, of course, if that were the case, the Commonwealth would have gotten a search warrant to search the phones to help prove the case of they had 2 times of the murder of John O'Keefe, which they didn't, and went to the grand jury who wouldn't indict for any type of witness intimidation.
Yep.
But now, Mr. I'm going to save the day Diller for the O'Keefe family wants to intervene to get these phones now separately. Okay.
what if he brought a civil subpoena for those phones that are already in the custody of the Commonwealth?
To the Commonwealth. Be interesting.
Yeah.
That would be
Yes,
interesting.
that'd be interesting.
That'd be interesting. Whether you could do that.
No.
That'd be another. We're going to the SJC. We're going to Supreme Judicial Court. We're going to keep this on. We're
Okay,
gonna
well,
try
I
to
will
amend.
tell you the big shocker. Doolin didn't decide anything. That's
You
what
mean we
Yeah.
didn't? You mean we
Doofus.
withheld?
I mean, Doolin took it under advisement.
Another taking
proposed
an
a rule by Monday, I think, is what he said. Don't have some balls, please. You will never get an easier decision than what was in front of him today. Never.
And and if you do it, and you say, look, this case is ended, all right, then you stop other people from doing this kind of stuff. You stop Cosgrove from doing. But they don't do it. They take it under advisement. Then they give little nibs and they give little things. Just stop it. You are the judges, okay? Be as one-sided, as Judge Cannoni was, but in the right way for justice. Why don't you try that, Massachusetts?
Yeah.
And I have to say, I'm saying that, but the judge we had, Hernandez, was really very good. He tried to be fair. We had a couple of
You had your moments.
rockers. We had moments and all, but tried to be fair, and so did the courtroom staff. But here,
Suffolk County, big city.
right?
This is like Podunfield. This reminds me of my cousin Vinny in terms of just it's a small town. I liked Judge Herman Munster in the film.
Right.
I think
Utes.
Utes. What did you say?
What did you
Utes?
say?
No, I think he was great, but you could just get that feel of everybody's related to everybody knows everybody's business, and it never goes well for the out of towners.
Well, that's what I always worry about when you're in a small community and you come in and you're not part of the you're an out of towner. I always worry about because out of town justice is injustice. Okay, everyone has to remember that. So
that was an exercise in frustration, but we had to follow it. We had to watch it. We got to see what's going to happen Monday. Do you think Doolin would dare give Cosgrove the time that he's asked for, or will he say turn the phones over by 5 o'clock tomorrow? Meaning,
I think he should say, "I'm going to send this back to Judge Krupp."
Judge Cranky Krupp.
I'm going to send it back to Judge Krupp. Really, that's what he should have done here. He should have called on the hello bosses. This really should not be before me. Okay.
No, well
because
that's
is an extension
true.
of the ruling that was just made. This should be back to Judge Krupp. That's what should have been done.
And then Krupp should have
charge?
been on the bench saying, "Why are we here?
Right.
Was my decision unclear? Was the ink smudged? Anyway, so
Yeah.
it continues. And thanks again to Law Girls Not Attorneys, Due Process, Josie and Amanda for getting that, for suffering through that in person. We appreciate it.
What a waste. But you know what? It doesn't want to go away. They don't want to give up, just like they don't want to give up against Aiden. They just don't want to give up, right? And
Yeah.
yet, Karen, we left the courtroom, and we're not going to play because I'm not going to show you that kind of shit. There was screaming in the courtroom. Somebody screamed at her. There was screaming outside the courtroom at her that she's a murderer and all. Okay, and Massachusetts is allowing this to happen by making her come back to this court for this kind of bullshit nonsense crap. That's all I can say.
Yep.
And
It just doesn't
while we
seem to end.
Doesn't seem to
Yes.
end. And then we have the real tragedy that's going on day 19 in Arizona.
Also
all right?
doesn't seem to end.
Yeah,
So hit the high points, such as they are. What do you?
There are no
what-
high points in that. At some point, the sheriff in Savannah Guthrie's mom's case, Nancy Guthrie still has not been found. There's been rewards now that I think it's up to $300,000. There's been separate entities that have added to the awards. Nothing's come in except I guess the FBI is tracking down whether or not that last ransom note, which said that bad things would happen to Nancy if you don't pay the ransom, but don't seem to indicate how. Everybody seems to. There's about 20. There's been reports that there's 20 people that they have pictures up. They're going to gun stores, and that there's 300.
They denied that.
They
denied.
the sheriff
Right.
denied
that.
Not the sheriff denied, right?
The problem with some of these stories is because it doesn't seem that the FBI and the sheriff are collaborating. It's harder to tell what's true and what's not. As I said yesterday, there's no joint statement. There's no joint presentation of something they found. One side says this is going on. The other side said, no, it's not. It's hard to tell exactly what is going on. They've talked about Mexico. I know some of the media has latched onto that. I'd be shocked if not the first couple of days they were reaching out to their counterparts in Mexico and telling them, here's what's happening. Here's the details about the missing woman, all of that stuff. Why is that a big deal now? It's a big deal if they have somebody or a line on somebody, but to just suggest the FBI is now in touch with Mexican authorities, BFD. I mean,
Doesn't mean anything.
Could be that case
And
for 2 weeks.
Yeah, and the sheriff said I wasn't going to give him press conferences until anything happened, and then he sat down and gave individual interviews for all sorts of media.
Of interviews. He's been criticized for his handling of this in front of the media, both press conferences and then these line of interviews. I remember the first day into the second day, he was doing them right after another up into the late hours. So is that a guy who loves the limelight? Is that a guy who thinks what he's doing helps? I think it's more the former than the latter. He likes showtime.
Yeah. Well, it turns out they have it came out today that department has an A&E show. I don't know if you saw that.
I didn't see that. No,
yeah.
it's out or it's in production.
It's out apparently. An A&E show. I haven't looked at it. I haven't. Yeah, it's currently on Desert Law or something. Somebody just wrote down.
And he's in that.
Yeah. So whether they're doing something, whether they're working, they obviously have the DNA. The lab would have given. They're probably working on the IgG. That takes a long time. That's not of the house, and that doesn't necessarily mean that DNA that they have in the house is the DNA of the perpetrator.
Of course not. Of course not. I mean, I'm sure
working on it.
They've got a list of housekeepers, food delivery, anybody that legitimately would be in the house. They've got a list, and they're going through it, and they've X'd out people that are clearly not connected. So, but we don't know, and I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that too.
If they're using that DNA to get to a suspect, great. That's the job they should be doing, and so fine, just do it.
But the problem I have is that we sit here and we watch this of an hour wasted time, and it's not wasted because Karen Reed had to be there, her family had to be there, and we're seeing that the Massachusetts State Police, you have the Enrique Delgado's case where there's troopers have been suspended with pay, bad peoples, but with pay. We see another trooper may have killed somebody and had a blood alcohol level that was high, and that was hidden from the families. So we see all this coming out. We see all these horrible things happening. We have a horrible thing happening in Arizona. We have missing children. We have the Epstein case, right? And people want, I don't know about you, I'm talking for myself. I want law enforcement to be law enforcement. I want them to be the great agents like Mike Easter, like Jodine Weber. I want the FBI agents
Crazy.
to do something and really, work on crime that scares us all. This is bullshit. This is a waste of everybody's money. For what? For ego? Oh.
Yep. And that's just the tip of the iceberg, although this whole case is exposing all of that waste. If I lived in Norfolk County, I'd be up in arms. I'd be so pissed off. And there are a lot of people that are.
Right.
But whether or not they're going to have an opportunity to change things, that's a different story. So,
or care enough to vote to change things. But in the meantime, with Nancy Guthrie, we're going to repeat again. Somebody out there knows something. Somebody knows something, you have to give it up. You have to give it up. Somebody has to know something. We still don't know anything, and I feel for the poor family. I mean, I just can't imagine going into day 19 and not knowing. Now, maybe they're being briefed, and good. If that's happening.
I imagine they are, and certainly I hope they know far more than we do.
I hope so.
And I hope that some of it's encouraging and that they really feel like progress is being made. But no matter what progress is being made at this stage, you've got to think, Nancy Guthrie is not alive. I'm sorry. I think it'd be shocking if she's alive at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. In the meantime, remember, every day you wake up is a really good day. It's a gift. Kiss and hold people that you love, because you never know if some kind of crazy pervert is going to be out there and just disrupt your life.
That is true. On that solemn note, tomorrow.
Well, I should say on that solemn note, subscribe, like, share, notify, and hype this very happy show we did tonight. Okay. Become a member. Our members are really enjoying, been enjoying the book club. Michael's going to have another book he's going to pick for probably next week. We're ready to get on a plane to go to England should the prince
That's right.
Stand trial. So please support the network if you can, any way that you can.
All righty, then. Tomorrow we are getting Ready, Set, Richens Part 2. Her trial begins on Monday. Of course, she's accused in the poisoning death of her husband, Eric, and then writing a little book with her kids about how to survive with one of your parents missing. And tomorrow we go into the Walk the Dog letter. She wrote this in jail, but I don't know, is this an outline for a new book, or is this some sort of confession, alibi combo? Anyway, that'll be tomorrow. If you missed the first one, look it up. We have that in our playlist for Corey Richens. I think it's going to be an interesting trial. I know there's a lot of stuff going on that may fog things up. Ms. Guthrie's disappearance, if it's not resolved by then. Obviously, the Epstein case continues to percolate, and former Prince Andrew is the latest. But I still think it's going to be an amazing case on so many fronts, so we're going to be on it.
Yep.
All right, then.
So, Michael, I'm going to turn the show over to you to give the good night with our, a little bit of a change of how you should live your life.
Yeah, I just think, to use Savannah's words, until they have some resolution, that it is never too late to do the right thing.
On the